Hello, it's Ryan from 2minutetennis.net, and in this video, I'm going to show you something very specific you can copy from the David Ferrer forehand to help improve your forehand. First, a big thank you to Jorge Capistanding for allowing me to use this footage, and a world-class tennis coach, and has an incredible channel here on YouTube. I've put his link in the description below. Make sure that you subscribe to his channel. So I want you to notice the C swing that David uses, right? It's a very classic swing. It's very clean. He has such clean technique. It's very easy, to be honest, for amateur players to copy the C swing that he's using. But I want you to notice that as he's doing this, it's a little bit like Andy Murray, where David has his strings facing slightly down at this point. When you take your racket back, try having the strings tilted down slightly. So you'll notice the tip of his racket is higher than his head. Very similar to Agassi here. The racket tip is higher than his head, and he's going to circle around hitting the ball with a perfect C swing. But notice that when he takes the racket back, the strings are tilted slightly down. The tip of the racket right now is visible to the camera. That's how we know that the strings are tilted slightly down. And when you do this, it keeps the swing more on the hitting side of your body. Meaning if you're right-handed, it keeps the racket more on the right side of your body. If you're someone who the swing really can get quite large and you sometimes are late against players who hit hard, try having the racket high but tilted slightly down. That keeps the swing on the right side of your body. Then when the racket drops, notice his strings are closed again. That helps your racket to then face forward when you strike the ball. So many players I see, when they take their racket back, their racket opens up and their strings actually face up at this point. And to be honest, Rafael Nadal does that. When Rafa takes his racket back, the racket is slightly open. Now, he's an incredible player, an all-time great, 20 Grand Slams at the moment of this video, but I can tell you it's not easy for amateurs to copy that. This is the type of forehand that you really want to copy if you're struggling with your forehand and you're looking for a way to improve it. Take your racket up on the way back. And you can see his racket does that. His racket goes up as he takes it back. But when he takes it back, the strings are tilted slightly down. Then circle around, drop slightly below the ball, which you can see he does that. If I just take this line straight across, he's going to swing up through contact. So his racket is rising. You want to make sure that you draw the C swing, but the bottom of the C is lower than contact. So you can swing up and through contact. Now, the reason the ball doesn't go out is because he's tilting his strings down at this point. So that when he swings up, his strings face forward at contact. And watch this. His strings continue to face forward, forward, forward. He's got such a long contact zone. Then he goes high and extends up, and then the racket finishes kind of down by his left oblique. But it did go out of the screen at one point, so he was obviously swinging up through contact. But make your C swing. Circle the racket around, but practice. And by the way, if your forehand is awesome and you don't want to tinker with it, I totally get it. That makes total sense. That's fine. But if you're looking for a way to shorten the swing a little bit, still keep an increase in power, still be able to control where the ball is going by making sure your racket's square at contact, take your racket up on the way back, as I drew before. Take your racket up, but have the strings tilted down slightly on the way back, just like Andy Murray, just like Andy Roddick, just like here David Ferrer. Then drop the racket down below contact with your strings closed, then swing low to high, extending through contact. This is just an absolutely perfect forehand to copy if you're someone who's struggling with your forehand power and consistency. You copy this forehand from David Ferrer. There's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.